Hi, everyone. This is Susan Brown with BetterBones.com and Alkaline for Life. I want to welcome all the community, all of you, to day 6, March 21st, day 6 of our social isolation, our meeting this challenge of the COVID virus. Today, I want to review some really interesting tips on how to maintain respiratory health. These are tips that make a lot of sense to me. They were sent to me by some workers in the field, in the health field, and they make a lot of sense because they're just what the ancient sciences, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine would say to maintain the health of our lungs. Um, and then I'm going to talk about some words of inspiration. Many people are rising to the occasion to be displaying great acts of kindness and caring. And many of our leaders, our spiritual, emotional, intellectual leaders, are also offering free services. And I'm going to just review a few of those that have come up today. So, respiratory health. As it turns out, this COVID-19 virus is a virus that affects the respiratory system. And in particular, there are things we've learned about this from China and apparently from autopsies that have been done in China, people who died from this. And let me just get the data here for you. This What we know is that the virus obstructs the respiratory pathways, and what happens is it obstructs the pathways with mucus that solidifies and blocks the airways. And so in order to get a medicine to the lungs, you have to unblock those airways. That makes perfectly good sense. If you know much about Ayurvedic medicine or Chinese medicine, you'll know they're talking about keeping the airways clean, avoiding the buildup of mucus in the body. And these are some tips of how you can avoid the buildup of mucus in the body and keep those airways nice and strong. Now, of course, the breathing exercises that Gina does with you in the morning, as most of you know, our fitness expert and our client service assistant, Gina Galli, is offering yoga stretches in the morning, yoga exercises class, and also breathing exercises. Deep breathing is a great way to build strength of the lungs and enhance the respiratory system. The point of this from the memo I got was that you want to have a strong respiratory system long before you get any kind of cold or any kind of flu, because it can take days to clear it. So here are the tips. These tips really make a lot of good sense to me, and they're things I suggest to my clients. Number 1, drink lots of hot liquids, coffees, teas, herbs. All of these help to break down mucus. Our favorite is ginger tea because it's very stimulating to the immune system. It's a great sulfur donor. It helps to detoxify. Ginger tea with a little honey will really help if you have a cough. We also like red raspberry tea, very good for boosting immunity, as is red clover and many herbal teas. Sip hot water every 20 minutes. So have some water right by you. Keep your throat moist because that will help wash away any virus that you get into your mouth. It'll take it down into the stomach where hopefully the gastric juices will neutralize that. Drink a lot and drink hot water. Gargle with an antiseptic warm water like apple cider vinegar we love, or salt or lemon. I personally gargle with warm sesame oil. That's a very ancient Ayurvedic technique. You might have heard of it as oil pulling. People do it with sesame oil or with coconut oil, but it's very good to help remove bacteria and to keep the throat moist and protected. The virus attaches itself apparently to holes in hair and clothes. But any detergent or soap will kill it. So the idea is if you're in an area that's sort of high risk or you're out in the street a lot, be sure to shower when you get home, take a bath when you get home. And it's probably good to wash your clothes frequently, like every day if possible, especially if you're in an area of high exposure. And also, if you can't do that, apparently putting the clothes out in the fresh air will be a help, and the sunlight will help neutralize that. I'm reminded that one of my meditation teachers, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, I was impressed that every day he would have his clothes washed. And I always thought it was just to keep the energy pure in his clothes, but it could very well be to avoid any pathogens collecting there too. You've probably all heard that metallic surfaces seem to be able to hold the virus is able to stay alive on those surfaces, metallic surfaces, for longer period of time. So any metal surface, probably 4 to 9 days that virus could be alive. So you want to wash those very carefully. Be vigilant about touching handrails and doorknobs. In our own house, we're looking for ways to sanitize these, and you'll find many different sanitizing techniques on the internet. Respiratory health, don't smoke. That's number 5, really important. Number 6 is, of course, wash your hands every 20 minutes using any soap that foams, and wash your hands thoroughly. We've all been told this many times. It makes really good sense. Very good for the respiratory tract, because as we touch our face, as we touch our nose, even eating with our hands can get some of this pathogens into our body. 7, of course, fruits and vegetables. Eat fruits and vegetables. Try to increase your antioxidants. We know we emphasize vitamin C, but zinc, selenium, beta carotene, all of these antioxidants would be helpful. And you can get a lot of those through the fresh, colorful fruits and vegetables. It was interesting that they suggest the research does not show that animals spread the virus to people, that it's person-to-person transmitted. So that's a thought. That's as far as the veterinarian sciences are able to know today, that it's not transmitted, that your pet shouldn't be able to transmit it to you. The last few tips on respiratory wellness relate to try to avoid getting the common cold or flu. Take care of yourself, because that weakens your system. And avoid drinking and eating cold foods. I bet you've noticed yourself when you have cold food, you get more mucus, more congestion. Finally, if you feel any discomfort in your throat, or you have a sore throat, if you feel anything coming on, remember the virus enters the system through the throat, through the lungs. So be sure to attend to that real quickly. Attend to that, seek medical help, do what you need to do to reduce that incidence of developing the cold. Fortify your immunity. Take extra precaution if you sense a cold or sore throat coming on. So those are tips that are being passed around. They were passed to me from a medical resource out of this country, but I think they're very good, and I think they make real good common sense. We want to strengthen our immunity. We want to keep that total load of virus down. That is sort of one of the nuts and bolts points of this little chat today. The second, what I call nuts and bolts of this whole viral thing, is that I saw today that several companies are now producing kits. So hopefully we're going to see these kits much more widely available. Of course, one of the major keys here is to prevent the spread of the virus to people who will be most vulnerable. 95% or so of the people get exposed to the virus. They may get sick, they may not get sick, they're perfectly fine. But the vulnerable population, the people that have illness or their immune system is weakened, we need to keep this from spreading to them. So we really need to work on the social isolation, and we need to see who has been impacted, who has carrying the virus right now. So look forward. Hopefully these kits will get out really quickly. It's times like this, times of great challenge, where we see the real creativity and the magnificence of the human spirit. Some of my favorite teachers are really rising to the occasion to give free seminars, to give free meditations. I'm going to give you a link here to Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is one of these spiritual teachers. If I wake up at night and I can't fall asleep, I listen to Eckhart Tolle. Not only because he speaks so slowly, but his knowledge is so profound that it really helps me to rest and to get centered. I'll give you the link here. He's offering some free video kind of discussing how we might tend to our consciousness while we're also attending to our physical body. And he also offers several free meditations. So if you're interested in if you know Eckhart Tolle, it's a great opportunity. And if you've never studied his works, you might listen to it, see if it resonates, if it's helpful to you. Another great teacher I really love is Jean Houston. Jean Houston has been around for decades, and she really is one of the founders of the human potential movement. She's truly a mystic and a very creative person. She's written a wonderful little letter explaining her experience seeing the terrific outpouring of generosity and caring on the part of so many people. And I'll give you a link to her little letter. I mean, what she says is she's inviting us to develop a new virus of caring. And she cites cases like in New York City where people are helping one another very diligently, like a restaurant owner is giving away free food. And they ask him how long he'd do it. And he said, as long as I have money to do it. She herself had cases of people in Costco where she was shopping being really helpful to her, giving her the last roll of toilet paper because they might have had an extra one they didn't need. All the things we can each do, even if it's just glancing a nice smile to someone, if it's being more helpful to people who really need it. We are seeing a great awakening of human spirit, and it's quite heartwarming and helpful to us all. Jean Houston has wonderful, she's a very well-spoken, she's a beautiful writer. You might take a chance to look at her letter. And Rise to the Creative Virus of Caring. JoeDispenza is a professional I talk about a lot. He's a medical professional, but he's really consolidated this concept of the power of the mind and how we can actually, through meditation and awareness, actually get closer to that state of source and all consciousness and discover a great power within us. And in fact, at his webinars, he has many people doing interesting, very fascinating self-healings. He has some free videos and some discussions. I'm going to give you that link in case you'd like to check out JoeDispenza, what he's saying. Every day, new leaders are popping up. Old leaders are popping up in a new way to help, to open their hearts freely to help, to give their service at no charge, to uplift and inspire us all. And when this whole crisis is over, I hope we carry with us that new virus of caring. One last thing, I'd like to answer one question. Someone wrote me a question about vitamin C. As you know, I have for decades used vitamin C to boost immunity for people who have certain health challenges, including myself. And she wants to know what brand of vitamin C to use for a 2-year-old. I mean, it's not so much a question of brand. I mean, you always want a good professional brand if you can. When you think of vitamin C, you're generally either talking about ascorbic acid, which is what you commonly find in the stores, which these days it's getting a little hard to find. There's temporary shortages, but you can certainly find some ascorbic acid. So with a 2-year-old, what people like Dr. Cathcart, who treated thousands of people with vitamin C, say to do is 1,000 milligrams for every year of life. So you might, whatever you can find, we like the powders, and we like particularly an ascorbate powder, because an ascorbate powder has minerals and it will help alkalize the chemistry. As I've been telling you, having a proper cellular pH is very important, and it helps with resistance to these viruses. But any vitamin C is good. The higher, if you can get a professional quality, that's great. You can get some powders, you could sprinkle it into the child's drink. Even if you had to get some tablets, the chewables and things are difficult because they oxidize. Vitamin C is damaged when it's exposed to air or when it's exposed to light. And so that's important. We're doing this video from home. I'm all by myself, but my assistant mentioned that I failed to give her the link. So I'm going to send the links right now, and they'll be posted in just a couple minutes on this video. So Saturday, it's a sunny day here. I hope you all can get outside, get some fresh air, smile at a friend, and we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. I send you all my love. Talk tomorrow.